The SEAL team coming to kill Osama bin Laden was just seconds from fast roping to the ground when one helicopter came down on bin Laden's outer wall.
Breaking into as it did so with the main body of the helicopter falling into the compound where the SEAL team was, the tail section falling outside of the compound.
That crash revealed a secret to the world. America has a stealth helicopter.
Never ever seen a cap like this on any variant of any Black Hawk.
Gareth Jennings monitors aviation technology for Janes. He says Army Blackhawks are normally painted olive green.
This particular one is in a grey colour, not just any grey, it's infrared suppressant grey.
Part of the fuselage is shaped like an F-22 stealth fighter, which is designed to defeat radar.
If you eliminate right angles in an aircraft design, radar waves can't bounce back.
Jennings says it's got extra rotor blades, which makes it harder to hear. Compare the sound of a normal Black Hawk with an experimental stealth helicopter. Almost sounds like it's going away from you. With bin Laden the target, the mission so dangerous, it's unlikely this was the modified Black Hawk's first flight. Remember, the American public learned of the F-117 stealth fighter during the invasion of Panama in 1989, 9 years after it started flying.
And had this particular helicopter not crashed, we would still have no idea of its existence.
But now everyone knows. The SEALs blew up the main body of the helicopter in the compound. This was the part they couldn't get to. A U.S. official confirms Pakistan has it now, which raises the possibility it could give the technology to others.
That has to be of great concern to the U.S. Department of Defense, because with that technology, the Chinese or any other third party can then either incorporate that technology into their own aircraft, or they can figure out ways to defeat that technology.
Remember, the SEALs tried to blow it up, but at that point, they've got the body of Osama bin Laden. They've been on the ground almost 40 minutes. They had to wait, going back to set a second set of explosives versus getting away and completing the mission they were sent there.
Navy SEALs did the shooting inside bin Laden's compound, but an elite Army unit called Task Force 160 flew them there and back. And the pilot of one of the Black Hawk helicopters may have been the difference between success and failure. The SEALs were about to fast rope into the courtyard in front of bin Laden's house when the Black Hawk lost lift. Imagine what would have happened if it had crashed into the courtyard with all its SEALs still aboard. Chris Marvin doesn't have to imagine. It happened to him in Afghanistan.
How close did he come? As close as any helicopter pilot came, maybe a little bit closer, but he had, or she had, the talent and the skill level to land the aircraft safely and let everybody off without any injuries.
The pilot nudged the Black Hawk forward into a controlled crash, shearing off its tail section. The SEALs were able to continue with their mission, and before they left, blew up as much of the Black Hawk as they could, but had to leave the tail section intact. That gave aviation expert Bill Sweetman his first good look at a stealth helicopter.
Did you know these existed?
I think nobody outside the classified community really knew that these existed.
Sweetman points out some of the features that make it stealthy, like the cover over the tail rotor hub.
What that is there for is to reduce the radar signature, the radar reflections from the hub.
The tail rotor has more than the usual number of blades, which evens out the distinctive whop-whop of a helicopter.
So that a range of a couple hundred feet even, if you've got a bit of urban background noise, you're not going to hear it.
The Pakistanis hauled the tail section away, so now the secret of the stealth helicopter is blown.
And we lost one aircraft. That's better than one life for sure.
Still, the Pentagon wants what's left of its helicopter back and has asked Pakistan to return it. Katie?
David Martin at the Pentagon tonight. David, thank you.
ABC News has learned that the SEALs who carried out the mission were using a top-secret weapon, the world's first stealth helicopter. Brian Ross is here with that story. And Brian, this is beyond James Bond. It's a helicopter that is almost invisible and almost silent.
Very strange one indeed. In fact, the last act of the Navy SEAL team before they left the bin Laden compound was to blow up the damaged helicopter that had to be left behind. And now we know why that was so important.
The fire was meant to destroy the evidence of one of the U.S. military's most closely guarded secrets, a stealth helicopter.
For the SEALs to go in and not be detected by Pakistani radar, the stealth helicopter was essential.
But several large pieces of the U.S. chopper remained, and aviation analysts say they provide the first real evidence of a stealth Black Hawk helicopter whose existence had only been rumored.
This is the first time that we've seen an operational stealth helicopter.
Analysts quickly saw several key modifications to the standard Black Hawk helicopter.
One of the things that really stands out is they have a little disc over the rotors, which is really designed both to baffle the sound and to deny radar signature.
Neighbors in Abbottabad told ABC News they did not hear the helicopters Sunday night until they were directly overhead. This is what a standard Black Hawk helicopter sounds like. This is the sound of an earlier experimental version of a stealth helicopter.
It would be a vague sound. It might be the sound of a helicopter that was going in the opposite direction.
One key to the chopper's stealth nature is a secret, heavily coated, fabric-like material, which children in the neighborhood could be seen collecting.
There are probably people in the Pentagon tonight who are very concerned that pieces of the helicopter may be even now on their way to China, because we know China is trying to make stealth aircraft.
The Chinese military has a close relationship with Pakistan, and the remaining large pieces of the secret U.S. helicopter, some hidden under a tarp, were trucked away by Pakistani officials to an unknown destination.
Residents there also told ABC News that just before the helicopters arrived, all electricity and cell phone service was knocked out, then came back right after the choppers left. The Pentagon has no comment on these reports.
So they probably used some kind of an electromagnetic pulse.
Could have been a cyber attack organized by the U.S. against this town.
You talk about the prospect that the pieces of the helicopter could go to China, the Pakistani military taking them away. What can they learn even from the pieces that have been blown up?
It's a key fabric there, how they do that, how they shape it and contour it, and that would be very important to help the Chinese, who have developed a stealth airplane, now develop a stealth helicopter. This is a key thing in a battle, and for Al-Qaeda now to know that they are able to come in, and frankly, it was surprising to me that you could hear the sound and you'd think it was going away from you as opposed to coming to you.
It sure didn't sound like a helicopter, it sounded much more like a lawnmower.
Exactly right, that's what they do.
Okay, Brian Ross, thanks very much.
A sophisticated U.S. helicopter filled with stealth technology had to be left behind at bin Laden's compound. Now it's giving up its secrets, and in spite of efforts to destroy it. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. David, good morning.
Good morning.
We're learning now about those first few moments with those two helicopters entering that compound and how closely things were to going very wrong very quickly.
This was a very, very dangerous moment. The helicopters were going to put their SEALs down on the compound by fast roping out of the helicopters, and as one of them came into its hover, it lost lift. And so at an altitude of about 20 or 25 feet, it started to go down. And you can imagine what would have happened if that helicopter had crashed right there in the middle of the courtyard at the beginning of the operation. The pilot managed to nudge his Black Hawk forward and into a bigger courtyard where he did a crash landing. And in the course of that, no one was injured, and so the mission was able to go on as planned, but he sheared off the tail rotor of the helicopter, and that had to be left behind, and it has now been photographed and revealed a number of stealth features on it.
Yeah, what have we found out about this technology, and just how much of a secret was this?
Well, certainly nobody knew it was on helicopters. I mean, stealth technology has been around for 20, 30 years now, but to put it on a helicopter does some things that make the helicopter harder to fly. This helicopter had more blades, rotor blades, than the normal helicopter, and that takes the whop-whop out of the distinctive helicopter sound. But it also gives it less power because it turns more slowly. So everything's a trade-off here. You become quieter, but you have less power. And we don't know the details of why that helicopter lost lift, but it may well have been the added problems of trying to operate a helicopter with those extra rotor blades.
Okay, U.S. is obviously trying to get that tail rotor back from the Pakistani government real quickly. Any chance of that happening?
Well, you have to believe that the mood the Pakistanis are in right now, if we do ever get it back, they're going to take their own sweet time about it.
All right, David Martin for us. Thank you at the Pentagon. David, good to see you this morning.